Well, good morning, everybody. Now that I've had a chance to drink my first macchiato of the morning, I'm ready to sing like a bird about details that have come my way about Iran's attack on Israel yesterday that I don't think have been widely reported on in the American media. Now, the first of these facts is fascinating, which is yesterday's attack by Iran was not executed by Iran's official Air Force or Iran's official army, but by what's called the Air Force of the Revolutionary Guards. In other words, within Iran's security apparatus or military, it's like there's a state within the state. A Revolutionary Guards run armed corps of Army and Air Force that acted independent of Iran's official military yesterday. In fact, Iran's president, who was newly elected in just the last couple months, he was not informed of this attack on Israel until merely minutes before it was executed. Now, this testifies to a schism within Iran itself. Now, we had read in the media or have heard in the past few days that since Israel killed Hassan Nasrallah, there was this ongoing debate within Iran itself whether to attack Israel in response. And there were many voices urging caution, including the new president of Iran, who was one of the leading voices, urging caution that an attack on Israel could beget a counterattack, a response by Israel that would topple the regime itself. But the other view, voiced by the more militant individuals within Iran's leadership, the so-called Revolutionary Guards, they wanted to attack Israel. And it looks like they got the upper hand and launched their own attack at Israel. Almost this renegade, you could call it a renegade attack on Israel yesterday without informing the official army or leadership of the country, including the newly elected president himself. Now, the order would have come to the Revolutionary Guard by way of the supreme leader of the country, the Ayatollah. So he commanded that this attack take place on Israel yesterday, but the attack was executed by Iran's Revolutionary Guard and their own military force, which was acting independent of the country's official army and air force. So that's the first fact about this attack that I'm not sure has trickled down to the larger American audience. The second fact that I want to share with you guys is that Israel's intelligence services knew the exact particulars of this imminent attack at least a couple hours before it took place, and independent of any American intelligence informing of Israel. In other words, Israel independently came to the conclusion through its own intelligence services that Iran was about to attack, and it knew the precise information about this attack, that it would be comprised of two separate waves, 15 minutes apart, and each wave consisting of 110 ballistic missiles. This is an incredible testimony of just how deep Israel has penetrated Iran's intelligence and security services. For we all know that Israel had deeply penetrated Hezbollah's security apparatus because of the pager attack and the walkie-talkie attack and the killing of Nasrallah. But it seems that Israel has also infiltrated with great aptitude and to a pretty good depth Iran's security establishment, because it knew a couple hours in advance concerning the particulars of this imminent attack. Now, lastly, I want to share with you that concerning that there would be an attack, and not just the particulars I just shared with you, but that there would be an attack at all. Israel was informed the day before by Arab parties within the Middle East that it has some sort of relationship with, either diplomatically out in the open relationship, like with the United Arab Emirates, and Dubai, or perhaps with parties it has a covert relationship with via intelligence sharing between intelligence services, such as Saudi Arabia, with whom Israel does not have diplomatic relations with, but has been working with their intelligence services already for over a decade. Israel was informed on Monday by those intelligence services that Iran intended to attack it with a force no less than that force that Iran attacked Israel in April. Now, to recall, Iran attacked Israel in April with a combination of 400 projectiles consisting of drones, cruise missiles, and most importantly, ballistic missiles. Iran had informed these Arab parties on Monday that it intended to strike at Israel the next day, which was yesterday, with such an attack, at least equal to the one in April. And Israel communicated through those same Arab intermediaries that Iran informed of its intent to counterstrike, that if Iran were to follow through on its threat to attack Israel, Israel would attack in response either, and that's the key word, either Iran's nuclear facilities or its oil infrastructure and its ability to export its oil to the rest of the world. Israel was very clear, and yet Iran still chose to attack Israel yesterday. Now, why did Iran attack Israel, even in light of this threat of Israel to attack its nuclear facilities or its oil industry? For the simple reason that for the last 2 months, Israel has successfully put Iran on its heels. What's that mean? It's had to fight on its heels. Israel has backed Iran's regime into a corner by attacking Hezbollah's leadership, killing Hassan Nasrallah, taking out that whole command echelon of Hezbollah, attacking Hezbollah's arms caches and tunnels, beginning with this land invasion a couple days ago. Israel's attack on Iran's proxy, the Houthis in Yemen, a couple days ago. All of this has embarrassed Iran because these proxies such as Hezbollah and the Houthis have said, where are you? Why aren't you backing us up? Why aren't you avenging or intervening in this Israeli onslaught on us? On us, your proxies, who you propped up and invested in for the past several decades. Are you just a paper tiger, Ayatollah? So the Iranian regime has had no choice but to flex its muscles because it now feels that its very existence is in danger. For if Iran did not attack Israel yesterday, it would continue to lose credibility with its proxies and with its own population in Iran. But by attacking Israel yesterday, it took a great risk that Israel would attack in kind in a way that would jeopardize its existence. Now, I heard the former Prime Minister of Israel yesterday on CNN, a guy by the name of Naftali Bennett, suggest that Israel should attack all in its counterattack. In other words, with one counterattack, just take out Iran's nuclear facilities, take out its oil industry, and hit the regime directly itself with the intent to bring down the regime. Now, why is Israel not likely to go all in and do that? It's very simple. By attacking Iran's nuclear facilities or its oil industry, it gives Iran the option or the ability to step back and not pursue its war with Israel any further, to basically cry uncle and to walk away with its tail between its legs. But if Israel attacks all in, as Naftali Bennett suggests, the danger is that it will really feel desperate and choose to launch the remaining 3,000 ballistic missiles that it has in its weapon caches and stores. Now, Israel succeeded to shoot down Iran's ballistic missiles yesterday with its own defense structure or defense dome over the country, namely the Arrow 3. It's the Arrow 3 that shoots down incoming ballistic missiles while they're still in the Earth's atmosphere. The problem is that Israel has a limited number of Arrow 3 rockets, and each of them cost $1 million. Yesterday, Israel spent at least $100 million to $200 million in its defense. We don't know how many Arrow 3 missiles remain in Israel's defense structure right now, how many the country has in its supply, nor does Israel have an endless supply of money to spend on these things. So Israel definitely doesn't want to face an all-out ballistic missile attack by Iran, because the country likely does not have the ability, and I'm not even sure it has the ability with American help, to defend itself against an onslaught of 3,000 ballistic missiles, which is why Israel will hit Iran severely for its attack yesterday, but will limit it likely either to its nuclear facilities or its oil production facilities in order to give the country a chance to stand down and end this insanity that it began yesterday by shooting these missiles at Israel. So, to review this update, to review the things that I shared with you that were not publicly disseminated throughout the mass media yesterday. Israel was informed by Arab intermediaries 24 hours in advance of Iran's intent to strike Israel. Iran telegraphed this intent to Arab intermediaries that the two countries share, whether these are countries that both Iran and Israel have diplomatic relations with, or countries that Israel at least has intelligence relations with. This is different than the attack back in April, which was telegraphed 72 hours in advance. This time it was telegraphed only 12 hours in advance. Israel, by way of those same intermediaries, informed Iran that if it were to follow through on this threat, Israel would respond in kind either against Iran's nuclear facilities or its oil industry, either or. It's likely the country will not respond in mass, taking out all these things in one counterattack, because it would cause Iran to be so desperate that it may launch the remainder of its 3,000 ballistic missiles at Israel, which is more than Israel's ability to defend against. At the same time, it wants to give Iran the chance to reconsider its options, to reconsider this war that it started on Israel yesterday, and to stand down. Now, concerning the very nature of this attack, Israel's own intelligence services, a couple hours in advance, knew the very nature of it, that it would be 2 waves, 15 minutes apart, 110 ballistic missiles in each wave. This is a credit to Israel's Mossad and Israel's signals intelligence unit called 8200, of which I spoke in a video I posted yesterday, called my whirlwind story of how we even got to this point. So please check out that video. That brings this update to an end, and now all of us are waiting to see exactly how Israel does respond to Iran's attack yesterday. We've entered a time where things are happening in such rapidly, that it looks like I may have to give these updates nearly every day. Yesterday I gave 2 on one day. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you informed as I become informed. This is Steve the Tour Guide signing off, wishing you a great remainder of the day. Bye-bye.